Hey guys, today I show you how you can tame your mice very fast within 2 days and according to animal welfare. If you want to keep fancy mice, there are a few things to know. Mice are nocturnal animals, that means they are not suitable for children and you can train them in the evening or in the early morning. The cage needs to be large enough in order to enable the mice to show their normal behavior and to be happy. The feeding is paramount. Feed your mice a mixture of seeds, vegetables, pellets in order to shorten their teeth, and fresh greenery. Mice are very timid flight animals. Thus, we are not going to grab the mouse and not forcing it to sit on our hand, but teach it carefully. Before I start feeding by hand, I use an aid, like a stick, something like a giant match. If you use such a giant match, then cut the red head of it. You can even use some chopsticks or something like that. Make sure that the tip is rounded. Here you can see why I don't start hand feeding immediately. Look at the gray mouse in the front, how it's turning away its head and closing its eyes. This is a sure sign for a kind of stress or that the mouse is upset, and it occurs because the mouse doesn't like the smell of the human hand. I think it's possible that for the mouse we smell like predators, and this is why we are not going to grab the mouse and force it to sit on our hand. Certainly not, but we are going to work with the mouse until it is eating by our hand voluntary, like this. Take a look at the golden mouse, the champagne-colored one on the left. It still has closed its eyes by eating. It's still a bit uncertain. A note on red mice. The color is called yellow too. These mice are genetically difficult. There comes a mutation with it. The gene that leads to this fur color also turns the mouse very fat. There is a mutation of fat cells, and also these mice don't get very old and are prone to tumor growth. If you want to tame your mice, they need to know the food you use for taming. I use millet and soy yogurt or lactose-free yogurt. Let your mice try it. Millet and yogurt are optimal for taming. They are quite healthy and the mice can eat a lot of it while taming, and it's quite good for clicker training. Don't use a lot of mealworm or sunflower seeds or cookies or such. They are quite unhealthy and turn your mice fat. Here the mice get used to the new food. If you want to do some clicker training with your mice, now you introduce the clicker by just clicking and showing them the sound. If you can see your mice are accustomed to the sound, you can use the clicker more deliberately. In order to do the conditioning to the clicker, now you always click just before the mouse is biting into the food. The stick is very helpful. We can start clicker training before the mouse is tame. A note on fancy mice with red eyes, like the mouse on the right. The color is called variegated. The gene for the red eyes also leads to some very interesting fur color variations, like this agouti delusion that is called champagne. But it also turns to some impaired eyesight that is scientifically known. Often you see them freezing and turning the head to the left and to the right in order to try to see. Feed your mice on the different levels and floors of your cage. These females are now 5 weeks old. I don't start with the taming earlier. Now you begin to move the bowl with your hand a little in order to get the mice accustomed to the smell and the presence of your hand. If you have some interesting enrichment in your cage, move that with your hand too. This mouse is called Krabbe. She has never been sitting on my hand before. It's quite important that you don't lift your hand immediately as soon as the mouse is sitting on it, but now you just let the mouse go onto the hand and leave the hand. Krabbe can feel quite safe because she knows she can leave the hand whenever she wants. Now that she is going onto the hand quite surely, I am going to start to move the hand a bit. Please observe if your mouse is showing some signs of stress, like looking around or turning onto your hand, like this. You can see the mouse has stopped eating and wants to dismount, so I help her and let her go from my hand. The mouse learns that it has the choice to leave the hand, and so it will approach more often. Normally mice don't jump from great heights, so if you have the mouse on your hand, then it will remain seated, but that does not necessarily mean that it feels comfortable. So please always take a closer look to the body language of the mouse. Like this, Krabbe turns more hectic and is looking down from the hand. She wants to leave, so I let her. This is the same mouse the very same day. You can see that it is climbing onto the hand more often, and the mouse allows me to transport her like some tiny elevator. Right now I give an opportunity to leave the hand, but the mouse remains seated. If you have a cage of sufficient size, this will be very beneficial for your training. The handling will be much easier, and mice that have enough space and can live as happy as possible are more easy to train. My mice live in open space constructions that are called mouse table. If you want to see how to build such a mouse table, there will be a second video for that. If you keep your mice in a cage, make sure that you have several floors to work with and that there's a trap door in front of one of the floors for easy access for training. Right now, Krabbe is quite relaxed on her elevator trips. On the first days of your hand taming and sitting on the hand training, make sure that you don't take the mouse out of the cage. You don't want the mouse to jump off your hand and get injured. So I hope you guys liked it and enjoy training.